Good morning everybody. I am very sorry that I haven't been around in a few weeks. This monkey here, you say hi Edie, you say hello to everybody, say hi, hi. This little monkey is currently going through a leap, so a leap in her development means grumpy Edith. So I promise you, I will try and get back to weekly uploads, but I am very sorry, and please bear with me if there is a delay because she is only 6 weeks old. If you are an oldie but goldie, come on in, you know the score. And if you are new around here, I'm Faye and I am mom to Edith, who is 6 weeks old, and Erin, who is 6 years old. There's quite a big age gap, but it works really well for us because Erin is currently at school, so I don't have to juggle both of them at the same time apart from after school. But today I am here to speak to you about my birth story. Let me just set this one up with some milky, because then we'll have a peaceful time, won't we? Will we have a peaceful time? Yeah. She said yes, Mum, we will. So my labour and birth story. I didn't go into spontaneous labour. I was due on New Year's Eve 2018, and that I was convinced originally that she was going to come early or be there on the day. Erin blessed me with being here on her due date, so that made life really simple for me because she was my first baby and she arrived in the morning on her due date. This one, on the other hand, you were a monkey, weren't you? Were you a monkey? Yeah. I went overdue and I did everything in my power to get this baby moving. I bounced on a ball, I went on walks, I jumped stiles, I had reflexology. I literally did everything. I had 7 sweeps in total, which, yep, is a lot of sweeps, and none of them shifted her. So on the 10th day, I was due to go into hospital for an induction, which had kind of ruined my plans with the fact that I wanted a midwife-led unit birth, but I was just ready for her to come out at this stage. So we arrived at the hospital nice and early, 10 o'clock in the morning, to be given my first pessary and told to go for a walk. At this point, we were on our own in the unit, which was great. And I was really hoping it would work. 2 hours later, nothing, unfortunately, and we came back and the unit was full, and there were what I would liken to a Jeremy Kyle family in the bed opposite, and they were loud, they were crass, it was horrendous, to the point where the head midwife came and moved us to a private room. They were that bad. So anyway, we carried on, had another pessary, still nothing. I was beginning to lose hope. A few hours later, I had a few contractions, so went for a walk, did all that kind of thing. I seemed to get them going a bit. As soon as I lay down to go to sleep, that was that. Thankfully, Matt was able to stay because they were so busy and we were on a private room. They never kicked him out, so Matt slept on the floor, bless him. And at 6 o'clock in the morning we had a knock on the door, and this was on the 11th of January. So I had nothing overnight, managed to get a few hours sleep, which was great, and I had a knock on the door to a lady saying, do you want me to take you to delivery? I was very confused because I knew I wasn't in labour, but she was like, we're going to go and break your waters. So I got all excited. I was like, yep, that's fine, let's go, because in every movie I'd seen, they break waters and your baby's here. Not this one. They broke my waters and I was 4 centimetres dilated when they broke my waters, and not a sausage. I'd got group strep B, so they put cannula in my wrist, and me and Matt went for a walk to try and get things moving. Had a few contractions. I was like, maybe it is getting there. And we looked down and my hand was massive, and I mean twice the size of its normal size, full of fluid, where they'd missed my vein in my hand and filled my arm with antibiotics, which was really nice because I told them it really hurt when it went in, and it obviously did really hurt because it was in completely the wrong place. So we did that, had it changed, got another cannula in the other hand, went for another walk. My contractions were going quite well, as I thought. Turns out as soon as I had to be monitored at 12 o'clock, bam, I lay down, they stopped. So they wouldn't let me get up and be mobile because of the fact that I'd been induced, so that was really horrendous because everything had stopped. So this was about 12 o'clock in the afternoon. At 2 o'clock, they told me they were going to put me on the drip. I was heartbroken, to say the least, because I was absolutely petrified because I'd heard so many horror stories about this drip. She explained to me what would happen and that they can put it up to 20, and if nothing, when I'm up to 20, then they will have to then give me a C-section at 6 o'clock or 6:30 on the night. So we started the drip at 2 o'clock. It was pretty intense, to say the least. I still wasn't able to move around, so I was stuck in one position. So I used my TENS machine, which was a lifesaver. My TENS machine was literally on with boost going, which I was impressed with. So I did 2 hours on the drip with just my TENS machine, and then I thought, I need some gas and air, this is getting pretty hell. And at 4:45, I asked them to see how dilated I was. Bear in mind I was 4 centimetres when they broke my waters at 7 o'clock in the morning. So I then said, right, can you check? And she was like, oh, I'm not due to check until 5:30. I was like, could you just check now? That would be great. So she checked and I was still 4 centimetres. At this point, I asked if she was joking. And the midwife was like, no, not joking. And I was like, but you are joking because I've had this horrendous drip. I've had loads of contractions. My contractions were coming 4 in 10 minutes and they were all lasting over a minute. So I thought it was pretty horrendous to have those for 2 hours and still not move. But this little lady was back to back. So I assume that had something to do with the fact that I wasn't dilating because she hadn't shifted onto my cervix yet. So anyway, I then asked for gas and air and pethidine because I needed something to relax my body. I felt like I was contorting myself every time I had a contraction, which was pretty horrendous. Are you okay, Bubba? So every time I had a contraction, I was like, I'm really contorting myself, I need to sort this out. So I had some pethidine, that really helped. And I remember saying to the midwife, my TENS machine is on boost, and she said, okay, how do I turn it off? What do you want me to do? And I was like, no, I like it on boost. I think that may have been a mixture of the gas and air and pethidine making me go a bit doolally. But I heard everything I was saying. But are you pooing? Yeah, that's the life, isn't it? Drink and poo at the same time. Nice. So she basically, I think I could hear what I was saying, but the words that I was thinking in my head weren't coming out of my mouth, unfortunately. I just said some hilarious things. But in the end, it was all good, and that was 4:45. So I thought I was in it for the long haul, and the next hour and a half whizzed by, and I mean whizzed by. I suddenly went from 4 centimetres to 10 and gave birth at 6:15. I think it was 17 minutes past 6, but you know, 2 minutes. So whether she moved or what, I have no idea. It definitely was more painful than the first time due to the fact that I was on the drip. But it wasn't as horrendous as I thought it was going to be. I managed it with gas and air and pethidine and my TENS machine. And I was on a fairly high dose of the Syntocin drip. So it wasn't as bad as it could have been. It didn't tear, which just made me so happy because that was the worst thing about Erin's birth, was me tearing. And everything went well. and I didn't have that horrible woozy feeling when you get up after you've given birth. I was able to shower, I saw Erin the hour later, everything was just amazing. And as you can see, she's a little beauty. She did come out back to back, she did try and turn herself but couldn't do it, so she came out with her head upways, which is apparently quite painful as well, but it wasn't horrendous. So if anyone gives you horrendous birth stories about syntocin drips and back-to-back births, I've done it and I'm still here, and it wasn't as horrendous, and I'd have another baby if I was ever allowed, but I don't think I'll ever be allowed. But this little monkey is here. Looks like she's filling her nappy, sounds like she's filling her nappy, so I better go. But thank you so much for watching, and let me know what you'd like to see next week. Thank you, bye.